Three, two, one. What's going on, everyone? It's time for another episode of Ash on Comics. Storytime Live. That's what I'm here for. That's what you're here for. I'm a little out of breath because I'm running around. You put that song on, or like I put the song on, not you, but I put the song on, and it's like I think it's just over 3 minutes long, and then it's like scramble time because I got to get back before it's before it's over. And I'm like trying to get my drink, trying to use the restroom, and then if anything goes wrong, it's like a race, but kind of gets the adrenaline pumping, gets me going. So hopefully you guys are having a good night tonight. I Am True Skills is first. What is going on? Is it April Fool's? Something's going on. Is there a full moon tonight? What's going on? I'm True Skills. Good to see you here first. Melissa is not first, so that's equally surprising. Let's see. Tom King ruined Rorschach and disrespected Steve Ditko. Melissa, did you read Rorschach? You didn't read Rorschach. You've been listening to other YouTubers, which I can't really complain about since you're here listening to me. So, but anyone who doesn't think that Tom King isn't going to ruin anything he touches, come on. I'm drinking iced tea tonight, fresh brewed. Well, it was fresh brewed when I freshly brewed it. It's a couple days old now. The unfortunate thing about fresh brewed tea is like it goes bad. I guess everything goes bad eventually, but it's you got to drink like the best. The tea is the best within the first 24 hours. It starts to get bitter over time. And I make it by like the big jug full, so I have a bunch of iced tea, but I can't, well, I could drink through it that fast, but I typically don't drink through it that fast. And then like tonight, I'm like, oh yeah, big cup of it. And I'm like, oh, this is like 2 or 3 days old, but it's still good. I mean, it's not like it's rotten or anything. It's just not as fresh. I'm a snob. What can I say? Yellow Flash was right about anime and manga being the future. I don't remember the last time Yellow Flash was right about anything, to be honest. Just, I wouldn't put too much faith in Yellow Flash. Yellow Flash, he's an opportunist. He's an attention grabber, and he likes to, get views off of hate clicks. He likes to capitalize on people being pissed off at what's going on, and he makes videos on that. I used to listen to Yellow Flash quite a bit in the early days when I first got back into comics when our boy Zach aka Diversity in Comics, aka Comics Now Matter with Luna. God, it's been like over a year since he changed his name. Maybe it's been 2 years. I don't know. It's been a long time since he changed it. I still can't get over it. Zach, you're stupid. Diversity in Comics was a great name. It still would fit today. Whatever. Let's see. Speaking of listening to other YouTubers, I got to catch one of Wes's videos from Thinking Critical. He did a video review of Strange Adventures, the other Tom King series that no one cares about right now. It's just still going. And apparently, wow, I've never heard Wes drop so many F-bombs, especially on a video. Man, I mean, that guy is usually tries to maintain a pretty clean appearance. Oh my God. Tom King apparently turned Mr. Terrific into a total racial stereotype. A black man who never wanted kids, who became a superhero because his kids died, but not because he was upset, not because of like the way the Batman became a superhero because his parents died. He just wanted to solve problems. No, apparently, according to the video that I saw, Mr. Terrific became a hero because his kids died, and it was such a relief because he never wanted kids. And so he escaped the responsibility of having kids so he could pursue his heroic ideals. You can't make this shit up. Give it a shot. I tweeted out the video. You could easily find it. Oh my goodness. I have to just feel for Wes because I'm like, you're still reading this fucking book? Like, I read the first issue, did a review on it, and said this is mildly okay. But then again, Heroes in Crisis, I gave that first issue like Comic of the Year awards, you know, like I was like, this is one of the best comics I read all year. And then look what that mess turned into. I was like, fool me once, fool me twice. No, Tom King is not good. And not only is he not good, but he's got an agenda. He turns comics into his own personal therapy. And he turns every male character into some sort of beta male, you know, that needs a mommy wife. And it's just really just depressing. And it's, you know, look, sometimes stories about people dealing with depression and post-traumatic stress and things like that can be an important story, can have a reason to be told, right? Like someone is going to get something out of it. I'm not against that being the subject matter of a story. But when it's the only trick in your bag, when everything you do is post-traumatic stress and, you know, sorry. So I dipped out. I was like, I'm not reading this Strange Adventures. I read the first issue, did a review for my channel, and I was like, see ya, I'm off to the races. And then I was tempted to do a Rorschach video for number 1. And I'm just like, why? Why fuck this guy? Why give him any more attention? I know he's going to screw up Rorschach. Yeah, I just know. I don't need to witness it. Just who cares? I don't need to eat a plate of shit to know how bad it tastes. Like I don't need to know that experience. My brain tells me that's going to taste like shit. Don't eat it. You don't need to experience it and know for sure what it's like. And anime and manga are not being the future. Sorry. I mean, come on. I haven't really been a big manga guy, but I've been following anime since the 80s. I mean, I've been a big anime guy. Well, sorry, I was a big anime guy when it was like hard to get before it became like this mainstream weeb thing. But now it's what sucks because anime is so prevalent and it's imported by, you know, various, you know, Western publishers and so forth, but they don't often get the good stuff. What they do is they get the stuff that appeals to the millennials, and it's the same garbage. They're not necessarily bringing over the best stuff. Whereas before, when there wasn't a big market for anime and like you had to like know people, and I used to be a part of a club, It was called Scan. It was kind of dorky. Southern California Animation Network, and we met on the campus of San Diego State University, and we procured a one of the classrooms, that had like a film room and seats, and it was like an all day affair. We met once a month, and there was like a lineup, and if you wanted to watch anime, this is how you used to have to do it in the old days before you could go to Best Buy and just buy. Sorry, I'm speaking like an old person. People don't go to Best Buy. Before you could just click on I'm sorry, not even Crunchyroll. Before you could just click on your favorite pirate site and get your anime. This is how you had to do it, and people would like know people that in Japan, and they would get tapes and bootlegs, and you would meet and be like, oh, you have this video I want, and we would trade blank tapes, VHS tapes. I remember being so proud of getting my first bootleg copy of Akira, watching that thing over and over again. Which, by the way, Akira's in theaters. At least it is out here. But the whole point of this story is anime has been a thing that people have been seeking out for decades. Like, we're in like the third generation. It's not the way of the future. It just already is. It's a thing. It'd be like saying back in the 80s, like, comics are the way of the future. No, it's just a thing people are into. There's no reason that anime and manga need to replace comics or anything like that. And the fact of the matter is while the comic industry is not super successful like it was once upon a time, there is matters of success depending on how you look at the metrics. Right now, I believe there are more comics being produced than any time in recent history. I mean, if I go back to the early 90s when comics were, when X-Men was selling record numbers of, issues, there weren't over 500 different comics every month coming out. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, no comic is selling even close to 1 million, much less the 7 to 8 million that X-Men got, number one. But you had it's like a wider level of success. Now you have a lot more small success. Well, I don't want to say small successes. You know what I'm trying to get at. Anyways, Yellow Flash. Eventually, over time, I just got recognizing that, unlike Richard Meyer, which I kind of still respect, Yellow Flash didn't seem like he had a passion for comics. It just felt more like he just was like, yeah, screw this shit, jumped on the bandwagon, and it was just real negative. And Yellow Flash has trashed some really freaking great stuff. If I remember correctly, Yellow Flash trashed Spider-Man Life Story. I know pretty sure that he trashed Silver Surfer Black. Like, it's like he doesn't want to see any good in anything. He's black-pilled. So what's the point? What's the point of getting opinions from someone who's not really trying to be objective? They just have an agenda that comics are terrible, and I'm going to show my videos and show you how they're terrible all the time. And because you feel this way, you're going to tune in and have your opinions reaffirmed by someone else and be like, yeah, you tell him, Yellow Flash. And look, this is not necessarily an indictment on Yellow Flash, except for the fact that I questioned him once. I dared questioned him, and he decided to block me. Just like, what the hell, dude? And that kind of got under my skin. I was like, you're such a fake. I wasn't rude to him. I don't even remember what I said, but it was just like kind of like questioning his opinion. I was like, are you sure about that or something? And he'd block. I was like, you're everything you complain about. Whatever. Comicsgate just turned into a whole I'm not gonna go in there. Artie says, why were you talking about Tubby? That has nothing to do with what these streams are about. Ash is reading comics to you out of the kindness of his heart and for free. Oh, sorry, skipped a line. I'm here until they put me in timeout again because I was said watching Tubby TV. Oh, okay. So RDV, the answer to your question is Marania put Dragon Ball in timeout because of what he was talking about. I didn't get a chance to see what the topic was. So here's the deal. There was an understanding that somehow piracy was being discussed or encouraged or something of that matter. I don't know. I'm not accusing, pointing fingers or anything like that. But Miranya's intention was to just silence and be like, because she knows I'm not pro piracy or whatever. So she was just looking out for the channel. She doesn't know Dragon Ball. I don't know. So Dragon Ball, you were timed out for that reason, not because anyone disliked you or anything like that. I don't believe Tubby TV is a pirate thing. I believe that's a legitimate thing, but it's all good. We're all friends here. No hard feelings. Apologize. Ronnie is a good person, so I apologize for her. No one meant to be instigating anything like that. Let's move on. Let's see. Uncle Ash is here to read you a story and spin a yarn or two. Ash probably plays this in his car when he's darting through traffic. Are you talking about the music? No, I only play it for you guys. Let's see. Yellow Flash is low budget Reverse Flash. No true Flash fan wants a rip-off character. Well, that's a good point. Let's see. Yellow Flash said Ash is a great YouTuber. Oh, never mind. Stupid Eric. I guess I deserve that one. That was a good one. Ryuk's in the house. What's going on, Ryuk? I don't even know if I'm ever pronouncing that right. Zach Richmond's also here. Manga is the same as comics. Manga writers hope that their work becomes anime. It's the same as indie work. Well, I would argue, Ryuk, that indie work is very much mimicking manga. A lot of the indie comics of today are trying very hard to follow the manga model as much as they can and still stick within the traditional comics model. So some people argue that with me. Oh, it's not the same, Ash. And I'm like, well, of course it's not exactly the same. It's like when you go to an ethnic restaurant in the United States, like the menu, the cuisine is altered slightly for an American palate. You know, you go to a Chinese restaurant, you're not getting the food that you would get in, Shanghai. It's not the same. It's based on that, but it's tweaked for an American palate. And manga is something that is something that has never been really successful other than authentic manga. When people try to copy it, I mean, you have these things like Scott Pilgrim, which kind of was an anomaly and then it faded, but it just doesn't work. People like manga because it's manga. It's because it's actually Japanese, it's imported. People want the whole thing. They don't want wannabe manga. They don't want imitation manga. They want actual manga. And when Americans try to copy it, there's this automatic sort of instinctual rejection. That's not real manga. But what's happening is you're seeing a lot of independent creators who probably are heavily influenced by manga are following this same model of beginning, middle, and end storylines, finite storytelling, not ongoing continually second act storytelling where it never ends. Like, American comics are designed to be, you can just go pick up. The idea was you could just go into your supermarket or whatever, pick up off the spinner rack the latest issue of Spider-Man, and boom, you're in an adventure. And he was always just constantly having adventures. There was not really progression. There was no beginning. There's no end. It's just, hey, look, it's a Spider-Man story, and that's what it was for. Manga's not that way. Manga is designed, you got to start from issue 1, and you got to follow it to the end. It will be a finite story, all contained, and it's designed to be told in that fashion. A lot of, especially Image, fit that style. To come with the books I really love, like Birthright, Birthright's going to be 50 issues and it's over. Ascender, I believe, is going to be 32 issues and it's over. And it follows it. Now, again, it's not exactly manga, but it's kind of that way. And then when they put them into the trades, that's where it looks a lot more like manga. But manga is not the same as comics. They're cousins in the sense that they're graphic storytelling. Comics it's like calling comics and graphic novels the same thing, right? It's not. Road to Perdition. You guys heard of this? They made a movie out of it with Tom Hanks. Road to Perdition. It's not a comic book, but it was a graphic novel. But it was sold like a book. If you go to the bookstore and get Road to Perdition, it looks like a book. And then you open it up and you're like, oh, whoa, it's got it's got graphic storytelling. It's are they very similar? Yes, but they're not the same. Let's see. Yellow Flash thrives on outrage clicks, same as EVS. All they do is focus on the negative. I would say that even EVS doesn't focus as much on the negative as Yellow Flash. I've seen EVS. I used to watch EVS a lot, actually, before the whole comics thing gate went south. But I've seen even EVS focus on the positive, but not that much. My God, between Alan Moore Video and the King Video were actually, King Video were really great. Left some comments on those videos. Are you talking about Yellow Flash videos? I don't know. I don't watch his. I haven't watched a video of his in easy 6 months. I thought Mr. Terrific didn't have kids because his wife died, but that was back in the good old days of Jeff Johns JSA. I don't know. I'm not a big Mr. Terrific guy. You should watch the video that Wes did. It might be that she was pregnant and she died. And so the kid dies in the womb type of thing. And ta-da, he's like, wipes his brow and goes, whoo, dodged a bullet. But that's not something a hero does. That's something that a stereotypical person of certain ethnic background might do, because they stereotypically are known to want to avoid being dads, if you get my drift. RDV says, I thought he was gay. Damn CW lies. Who knows? You can't tell who's gay anymore in comics. I mean, even Wolverine's, were Richard Z. Meyer proves correct in some of his comic judgment. Yeah, here's the thing about Richard Meyer that I respect is he's sincere, right? Like, I don't necessarily agree with him all the time. I mean, the dude ripped up, what was it? The Last Night on Earth, which I think is one of the best comics in recent time. He ripped up issue 1 of Last Night on Earth. Now, say what you will about the whole series. Some people say issue 3 kind of ended on a whimper. Maybe. But issue 1 was phenomenal. And he was like, this is trash. I was like, what? But the thing is I believe that he's sincere. I don't believe he's doing it for hate clicks. I've seen Richard Meyer recommend... did he ever recommend a Rap Mags Assaggio book? I could be wrong about that. I might just be imagining things. But I've seen him recommend SJW books, like where he was just like, I was going to trash this, but it's actually kind of good. Like, he calls things as he sees them. And that's what I appreciate. He has a love for comics. His viewpoint isn't the same as my viewpoint, but it's his viewpoint. And he genuinely feels that way. He's not out there just to get rage clicks. And that's what I like. That's why I tuned into him. I started tuning into him because of all the controversy about Marvel and stuff. And I was just kind of not really getting back into comics, but kind of re-entering the realm to be like, what's going on with comics, and I was like, holy shit, what's this and that, and listening to him roast Marvel was entertaining because it was kind of cathartic, right? Like I get to hear someone else say what I'm feeling, but I can only do that for so long. What kept me around and what actually got me to come back into comics was when he would do the opposite, when he would find a good book and be like, oh my God, this is good. This is what comics should be. And he would get to hear his passion. And there's a lot, he and I are kind of the same generation, and he has a similar love of 80s comics that I do. And so I can relate to him on that basis. And when I could hear that passion and the way he loved comics, I was like, oh, okay, this isn't a guy who's just trashing people. He really does love comics, and he loves it the way I do, and it rekindled my passion for books. And so because of his reviews of White Knight, I jumped in on White Knight. I also jumped in on Mr. Miracle, which he said was going to be the next Watchmen, and he was wrong. Let's see. Tehillim, good to see you, buddy. Just because he turned Selena, Barda, and Alana into domineering bitches doesn't mean he does it all the time. Ryuk says, honestly, I flipped through the Rorschach and just put it back. Sad about JL Odyssey ending, but we got Darkseid back to his glory. Yeah, it is sad. Man, JL Odyssey, man, that's something I wanted. I'm so sick of DC canceling all my books. I swear. It's like DC doesn't want fans. I swear. They have canceled more books than I've collect. You say, how is that possible, Ash? And I say, don't question me. DC, Doomed and Damned will have DC Comics. Riley Rossmo is my hero. I don't hate Riley Rossmo like everyone else does. And Eric says, as he should be. What we need is a Gabby Rivera sequel to America Chavez with Riley Rossmo doing the art. That is like my dream comic. Zach Richmond says a good anime to check out is Rising of the Shield Hero. The woke blue checkmark crowd hate it. Well, there's an endorsement. Let's see. Oh, I just scrolled too fast. Melissa says, except anime and manga are the future, along with an alternate comics made by your boy Zach. Okay, well, Ash, I wish you would not give in to woke SJWs. My friend Troy said, vote with your wallet. Have you ever seen me give in to woke SJWs? Like, come on, Melissa, you've been watching me for a long time. I don't give in to woke SJWs. I just don't swallow the black pill. Not everything is SJW, right? It's not. I know it's all over the place and it's easy to get trigger happy and you're jumping at shadows, but it's just not. It's not. Some things just are. Comic Cut is a douchebag. I blocked him for bashing Thinking Critical, Yellow Flash, your boy Zach, Ash, and more. Did he block me? Oh, Comic Book Cut is weird. I don't have any real negative feelings towards him. I don't really know him, other than I didn't really understand why people listen to his channel. But then again, who am I to talk? His channel is really he just always came off kind of jerky. He was in a DM group with me that Ethan Van Sciver formed. Ethan Van Sciver formed like a couple years back that I was in for a long time. I might still be in it. I don't know. I haven't participated in a long time. But Ethan had started this group, this DM group to sort of keep in communication with some smaller YouTubers, and kind of the idea was to stay grounded, and I kind of respected him for this. It was a cool idea, because I had questioned him, like, look, your perspective is kind of tainted because you're surrounding yourself with, with the a couple big YouTubers and then a bunch of comic professionals, and you're not necessarily getting the viewpoint, of people that might listen to my channel. You're not getting that viewpoint, and he formed a DM group. There was like 5 or 6 of us. You probably know a few of the people. Clint Stoker was one of them, and his channel blew up. Sweetcast. Gateway into Comics. That's actually how I met Gateway into Comics originally. He was part of that. What's his nuts? Comic Book Hut was one of them. And me. And there was this girl. Gosh, I forgot her name. I'm I'm so sorry. I'm bad. My memory is bad. Anyways, um, I feel bad. Like the only person I forgot was a girl. No, there was a guy who really wasn't a comic book person. I didn't really understand why he was in the group, but he did like special effects YouTube video stuff. And I was like, well, that's cool, but I don't really understand how you fit in this group. But either way, the idea was to have alternative viewpoints that Ethan, may not have been part of. And it was cool. And it went well for a time. And then Compa Cut just went crazy. And then he ended up getting kicked out of the group and going anti. I was like, what the hell, man? He just freaking went nuts. And everyone was like, what the hell? It was like out of the blue. Like something triggered him. I don't know, but that's a little behind the scenes. I feel like I can talk about it now because it's been like over a year. But these are things at the time that I couldn't really talk about because I believe in like respecting people's trust. And, even if I don't agree with them or things go weird, I'm not going to just be like, oh, I'm going to start spilling the beans and skeletons in the closet. Like, look, you have to be able to respect privacy and keep people's confidence. Even if things don't go the way you wish them to all the time. I gotta scroll down. Melissa says, Ash, you're my friend. Well, thank you. That's nice of you to say. I am your friend. And I believe true friends tell you what they think you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So sometimes I may not be saying the most pleasant things, but always understand. I always try to say the most sincere things. If people are only trying to tell you things that make you feel good, they're not really your friend. Let's see. But I thank you. That's a very, I'm honored for you to feel that I'm your friend. So hopefully I can be a good one. Indian people run all the Sicilian pizza shops in Schenectady. I don't even know how to pronounce that. New York. It's fake Italian. Well, is it impossible for an Indian person to cook Italian food? That seems kind of weird. It's like, you have the wrong genes. You cannot learn how to cook Italian food. By the way, pizza's mostly an American thing anyway. Like the authentic Italian pizza is not really what we associate as pizza. Again, it goes back to what I was saying in the beginning, like how things are changed for the American palate. The American concept of pizza is an American thing. That's the way it is. There's a difference between exposing what is actually obviously present in the books and seeing SJW ghosts where they do not exist. Case in point, strong female character does not always equal SJW. Correct. In fact, I love strong female characters. I think it's a challenge to do, and it's even more of a challenge to do these days. I shouldn't say it's a challenge to do strong female characters. I'm just saying today it's a challenge because the viewpoint is so skewed that so many people, whether they're an SJW or not, you're just societal influence has ingrained into you that strong female character means being masculine and having the traits of masculine strength, aggression, physical strength, overbearing confidence, domineering, right? Like these are masculine traits where, while those are certainly traits that you could consider of strength, they also have their own weaknesses. And what makes a woman strong, in my view, and I have the viewpoint of a man, are the traits that I feel men are weak at: empathy, nurturing. What else? Let's see. I'm sitting here, sort of intimacy, like affection. Oftentimes, men are raised and not comfortable expressing emotions. They bottle it up and things like that. They don't know how. Like if you put guys together, like we don't sit there and like hug each other and like if like dude's feeling bad, we might like like, put a hand on her shoulder. Like that's like the limit of our, but women know how to comfort and connect with others in a more intimate, sort of affectionate way. Like I said, share empathy, compassion, and nurturing development. Men don't have that, this idea, like it's something we can cognitively process, like, oh, this child needs to be educated. I need to be calm and maybe soft because it's a child. Like, we can think through it, but women have the natural instincts of that, and which is why children react naturally so much better, I think, to women and mothers than men. I as a man think motherhood is the greatest job, and not the greatest in like that's the job I want, but the greatest as in the most important job in the world. And I don't think there's a man that can ever fully replace a mother. Like, I don't think the best dad in the world will be better than the best mother, right? Like, I think the best lineman in the world on a football team will always be a man, but the best, mother will always be a woman. Which you go, duh, Ash. That's because you could. Sunday comic strips like Garfield, Peanuts, and Dilbert, Beetle Bailey, and Spider-Man newspaper strip, and more. I miss those. I miss Sunday comic strips. Man, Garfield was a favorite of mine when I was growing up. And then once I entered the workforce, Dilbert, oh my God. Scott Adams is genius. I follow him on Twitter to this day. He is genius. Let's see. White Circle of Death, says Eric. Is the YouTube failing? Classic TMNT. All right, and RDB says, I'm back. Well, let's see what's going on in the world of comics. We got American Vampire issue 5 for tonight. And wait, I didn't. There we go. And then we'll also be doing Long Halloween issue 5. Anyone have any comic book news? There was something I heard. I can't remember what it was. Well, I'm trying to remember. By the way, I started reading The Boys because I finished the season 2, and I really like season 2. I like season 2 more than I like season 1, which is a good sign. When a show is getting better, that's always a good thing. It's not a perfect show, and one thing that I thought season 2 had that season 1 didn't have, and I know it's gonna, kind of like, oh geez, but it did. I felt like it had a little bit of SJW-isms going on, a little bit of leaking in. Now I'm not indicting the whole show, but it just, it unnecessarily took me out of a couple things. I'm not going to spoil what happened because I do want to encourage people to watch the show if you haven't, if it's your cup of tea. But there's like a whole Nazi angle that's used in the show, and while it's fine, like, I think that could be a cool thing, it felt like it was shoehorned in. And now the episodes that led up to the finale, I was fine with. I was like, oh, this Nazi angle is kind of neat, like, cool. But what happened was, on the final episode, is this Nazi angle comes out, and you're just like, and it's just, here's the problem that I have with it, is all the quote unquote good guys, like, rather, I should say, the enemies of the Nazi, instead of the show indicting this character because they're just an evil character, the show had to basically go, well, it's because they're a Nazi that they're bad. And I'm like, well, yeah, Nazis are bad, but you didn't need to do that. You spent 8 episodes now explaining why this character is evil. Like, we get it. We're on top of it. They're bad. They're pretty much scum of the earth. But no one really cared until that person was revealed as a Nazi. And then it was on like Donkey Kong. And then it was like, oh, now we can't let that abide. And I was just like, hey, really? Really? Like, no. And that's what's happening like in the world. And this is what, like I say, I see this in the world today. It's like, we're not able to judge virtue and vice in our world today. We need to judge things by labels. And when someone's labeled as the Nazi, oh, now we understand that's the bad guy. Well, why couldn't you understand based on their actions? Well, I don't know. Because there's people don't have a moral compass. They don't actually really know. Which is why, not to get all political, but why so many people support these freaking evil fascist ass fucks. Sorry, I probably shouldn't. I just demonetized myself, but I'm not monetized. Why they will vote for these evil tyrants, and put, why people support rioters in the street who are murdering people because of the color of their skin. They're cool with that, but when you call someone a Nazi, oh no, that they cannot be allowed to live. But are they really a Nazi? Doesn't matter. That was labeled. And that's what felt like the show did. Like, everything else didn't matter. It was finally when we label him a Nazi, now we're going to get him. Now everyone hates this person. And you're like, oh, whatever. It felt weak. And like I said, the show's still good. And it's not hitting you over the head with wokeism or anything like that. But there were things like that I said that pulled me out of an otherwise really good show that it just didn't need to go there. So, yes, Melissa, don't spoil the new issue, says RDV. Yes, no spoilers. That is a rule of this channel. Eric Morania, you have permission to time out or delete posts if any spoilers. Please don't spoil things for people. That's not what we're here for. Now, obviously, I'm going to spoil American Vampire because I'm going to read it in a second, but you kind of know what you're getting into. But when you post something in chat, people don't know that they're getting, like they're not prepared. They're not ready to give, permission to be like, yeah, it's fine. You can tell me. RDV says Flash 763 is kind of meh. I'm worried. Well, Josh Williamson's leaving. You should be worried. Who's going to take over? It's not going to be good. Let's see. Comic book news. Alan Moore says he tried to save comics, but people are idiots. Isn't that what Bendis would say or Tom King would say? I was trying to remember one of the things I heard was on Bleeding Cool, but Bleeding Cool is such a fantastically junk site. Like, I hate having to go here. I was trying to remember what it was. Maybe it's under comics. All comic stories. Oh, here's a good story. Which political candidates did Marvel employees donate to? All the Democrat ones? Like, what kind of story? Oh, here's the one I saw. Cy Spurrier and Jesus Saiz bring back Black Knight to the King in Black. Did we need this? Is there a reason that Marvel quit bringing back D-list characters? Black Knight just needs to stay mothballed forever. He's never good. And I know Eric Breen's going to unsubscribe again from the channel because I said this, but sorry, he's not. And look, once upon a time, Marvel was busting at the seams with success and this had every comic book firing on all cylinders for the most part. And so they were like, what other things can we do? Then it makes sense. You go, how about a Black Knight comic? Okay. But when you can't even do Spider-Man right, when you can't do the Avengers right, when you got like a couple of comics you're doing, okay, you're like, let's do Black Knight. Yeah, that'll go great with our Black Widow series and our Ant-Man series and our Morbius series that no one wanted. Black Knight. And you're going to launch it in King of Black. You're going to take this event that people were genuinely looking forward to because Absolute Carnage was decent, and it's the only event that seems really be halfway worth anything at Marvel, and King of Black is like the sequel, and then Marvel's like, nope, let's fuck it up. Let's take it and like use this to launch a bunch of crap books. Like they're putting Daredevil's not a crap book, but they're crossing Daredevil over with it. And like, look, I like Daredevil, and I'm actually interested in the King of Black, I like Donny Cates. But why do these books have to cross over? Why do you have to interrupt what Zdarsky's doing? Because Marvel doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Sorry, I had to rant about something. RDV says, there's a vampire in this book. Spoiler. Damn it, RDV. Marani says, I won't go to Bleeding Cool because it nuked my computer before this one. I can't prove it, but it's known to be loaded with spyware and malware. Yes, I go there, Marania. I brave the trenches for you, so you don't have to go. So definitely, I don't recommend anyone try this at home. Don't. Tehillim says, maybe Black Knight is really Chadwick. I want to be funny about that, but I don't want to be tasteless. Anyways, that's it. That's all I want to talk about. We're done with Bleeding Cool. So let us start tonight's first comic, American Vampire, before Eric gets too old and turns to dust. That's what Eric needs to become, a vampire, so he can live forever and stay up all night and watch my shows. I wonder if Eric would stream with me if he were a vampire. Probably not. Let's see. Full screen. And here we go. American Vampire issue 5. Who did this cover? I can't tell. Can't call it. 1925, Los Angeles. My father kept dogs on our farm when I was a little girl. Big, mean mastiffs, 6 in all. Anyone came inside our gate without ringing, and those dogs would run at him. I never saw them scared, except this one time, when a gray wolf wandered down to our property from up north. The dog stayed under our porch all day long, hiding in the shadows. It was a shock to see, because it was like the dogs just knew, by instinct, that no matter how many of them there were, the wolf would always be tougher and meaner. And the wolf? Well, he knew it too. And the press on this second replacement. Hamilton was difficult, but this one, a young actress, plucked from obscurity and given her big chance. It plays directly into the great national fantasy, my friend. The fantasy that everyone counts equally. The match girl's life is no less valuable than the senator's. It's a country of grand illusions. Like a spoiled infant. And on the subject of spoiled children, any word on Miss Jones? Nothing, as yet. But I've sent word to many of our friends. Miss Jones can run all she wants. Eventually, we will find her. Now, Bernie. Careful what you wish for. Curtain Call. Written by Scott Snyder. Artist Raphael Albuquerque. Oh, the cover was Raphael Albuquerque. I couldn't even recognize the cover was the same artist. Oh, that's Albuquerque for you. All right, continuing on. You will never leave here alive. See? Now that's a grand illusion. Yarg. This one's for my buddy's car, asshole. Yarg. I can remember your taste, like vanilla and berries. It makes me so hungry. Whoosh. Ass. Funny, you taste like shit. Enough. Unless you want your friend to die this morning. Don't listen to him, Pearl. Let him go. We can settle this fight, you and me. Oh, but we can't. My dear, this fight is much bigger than you can imagine. It's a war, you see. A war you and your kind will never win. You might be stronger than we are, Miss Jones, but we are many. And we have been here, in your country, since before it was a country, and we are everywhere. We are the true line, and you are nothing but an abomination. Now, Bernie, you know that they say about people in glass houses. No! Pearl, you okay? I will be. I just have one last thing to do. There you go, sweetie. Thanks again, Miss Hargrove. You give us hope. Oh, Miss Hargrove. Mind giving one last autograph? You give us hope, after all. I'd be happy to. Yes. Dun dun dun. Plot twist. What's the matter, Pearl? Forget your line? Here, I'll help you out. Hattie, but how? It's simple. I've wanted to be like you since the moment I walked into that flea-bag diner. Then, the other night, after our little get-together on the hill, I found a way. Believe it or not, this is all for the best, Pearl. You're not built for this, any of it. You're tough, sure, but when it comes right down to it, you're a good person. In the end, you just don't have the stomach for this town, honey. Slash. Maybe so, but now neither do you. Boom, boom, get it? She slashed out her stomach. Leap. Bite. You were supposed to be my friend. Pearl. Pearl. You want your star so bad, Hattie? Eat it. Gold. Portland. Too gloomy. Denver? Too high. How about somewhere simple and quiet? with not a lot of stuff to do. Pearl, you're describing the library. We've got more cash than we can spend from selling Block's junk. We can go anywhere in the country, the world. And you want to go to the library? I want to go somewhere that's just you and me. I've about had enough with glitz and glamour to last me a lifetime. So, somewhere we can finally have that date. What? This isn't it? After all you put me through, you're going to have to do better than a box of popcorn and a ride on the big wheel. Is that so? Well then how about you go over there to that booth and grab us a couple of towels, and we can pick a spot on the beach, and I'll try to think of ways to impress you. Wow. I'll be right back. You're here to kill me, aren't you? You really do need to get out of California, Pearl. This place is making you paranoid. Oh, look, he's got a copy of Bad Blood in his pocket. Okay. I was gonna kill you. But then I changed my mind. Because watching you this week has got me thinking about all the fun we could have together, you and me. What do you say? Any chance I can win you away from old Henry there? Tempting, but no thanks. I figured as much. Well, then I guess I came to say goodbye. Again. Oh, don't worry, Dolly. I'm sure it won't be the last time. Plans, so many plans. Okay, I got them. 2 towels, my lady. Who was that you were talking to, by the way? Just an old acquaintance. No one you know. Now, come here and let's get started. The end. That's the end? What the hell did I just read? Dragon Ball says, I'm up to dusk till dawn every day. Eric says, Daredevil's going to go to Black Knight and demand he give his castle to the poor. Oh, my goodness. That book is being unfairly maligned for that. I did a video, by the way, of Daredevil, in case anyone forgot that I do videos. I forgot I did videos, so I just remembered. I don't think that whole issue of Daredevil asking Iron Man to give away money was that big of a deal. Another thing I thought of that I forgot to mention in that video was that Iron Man... So Daredevil asks Iron Man essentially to spend a couple $1 billion, I guess, some money that Iron Man's like, you're going to waste all that money? And my thought is like, dude, this guy goes through Iron Man suits like they're fucking water. And those Iron Man suits have got to be like $1 billion. Like, I mean, if the stealth bomber costs more than $1 billion, I'm assuming an Iron Man suit would cost more than making a stealth bomber. And he's constantly like building stuff for people. In fact, in the issue, he tells Daredevil, I want me to build you an upgraded suit. And I'm just like, what? You don't want to spend $1 billion to help people, but you'll spend $1 billion to give Daredevil some suit that'll probably just get blown up by some supervillain. So honestly, Tony Stark throws away billions all the time. This is something I had thought about, but because my memory sucks, I forgot to talk about in the video. And I just wanted to mention it again here. Now, it doesn't make really the concept of throwing away money make any more sense. And it probably wouldn't have worked, like I said in the video, had Tony Stark come up with the idea. Like, I've seen people write Batman, like, Batman's, I'm going to give all my money away and help the poor. And you're like, that's so stupid. If Tony Stark had done that, I'd been stupid too. But Daredevil is a guy who lives a very aesthetic life. Well, not totally, I guess. He does have kind of a nice apartment, but he doesn't live high on the hog. He has a very humble lifestyle for, what he's a prestigious lawyer. He was once the mayor of New York. And he's constantly giving away to the poor. I mean, the dude still lives in Hell's Kitchen, by the way. So I could see a guy like that being like, I don't need to have money. I throw everything else extra that I have beyond my needs to help other people. I don't see him not wishing other people would do the same. Does it make it smart? No, but obviously Daredevil's no business tycoon either. Like his whole idea is people need help, and there are people who can help them. I'm one of them. Other people should do the same. So it didn't really ring bad to me at all. I was like, this kind of makes sense. I think it was one of those things again that triggered people. Like they say, oh, SJW is give away all your money. And it's like, yeah, it kind of fits and matches, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's what it was. And I didn't see it that way. Ash, that's why I've been reading Iron Man, the more recent stuff. 1, to see if it gets better. 2, so you all don't have to. That reminds me, I need to do a review of Iron Man #1. Spoiler alert, it sucks. Eric Brain says, I'd be upset at being besmirched by Ash if I hadn't nodded off like 10 minutes ago. Wow. That was jerky. That was like, wow. Geez, Eric, what did I do to you? Okay, nobody mentioned Black Hack and Slash Image Comic once. Thought it was October, you guys. Hack and Slash Image Comic one. What? I don't even know what that is, so can't mention something I don't know about. Killing head vampires, that bit you're supposed to cure a person being a vampire. Well, in some mythos, that's the case. I never liked that, actually, that mythology. If you kill the head vampire, everyone else underneath them is cured. That was always kind of hokey. See. Eric says, good night, kids. Zzz. Well, we knew Eric couldn't last that long. That's what she said. Ba-dum-bum. Ash Future Trunks with a southern accent. Ash Future Trunks with a southern... I don't know what that means. Tony gave Angry Redhead Pepper an Iron Man suit. He's crazy. Tony gives everyone an Iron Man suit. You could pretty much like knock on his door and be like, trick or treat. And he's like, here you go, kids, Iron Man suits. It's kind of ridiculous. Daredevil is Batman without his riches. I think Daredevil is Nightwing. Or rather, Nightwing is Daredevil. Stark could write off buying half of Hell's Kitchen as a tax loss. The way Daredevil asked was so badly worded, but the idea behind it was very much character for Daredevil. Yeah. And Tony Stark obviously could have reacted better to it as well. Like, Tony Stark could have maybe been like, wait a second. I can understand, like, if he would have responded like, oh, yeah, maybe I'll consider buying Hell's Kitchen, but I am not selling it back for, like, a loss. Like, I'll buy it for value and sell it for value. And then that way the people there get treated fairly, right? Like, that's really what a reasonable person would expect, right? Like, the Stromwinds are going to, like, buy it at pennies on the dollar. The Stromwinds are basically going to basically Bill de Blasio, right? They trash the city, and then they start buying up the real estate at pennies on the dollar, is what Bill de Blasio is doing. They're evil, like Bill de Blasio. By the way, have I mentioned Bill de Blasio is evil? So it makes sense that Daredevil swings the opposite way. It'd be like, Tony, do the opposite. You buy it all, and instead of selling it like at a markup, you sell it at a markdown. And so the people get the money of from you from buying the property, and then they get more money when you sell it to them at a loss. Like, that was kind of unreasonable. If Tony had countered the argument and been like, look, I might consider it, buying it, and then I'll sell it back at the same price. Yeah, but whatever. I don't want to get hung up on that. like I said, I did a video on it. Maybe you might want to watch it. Or maybe you'll be like Eric and fall asleep. Let's see. Tony Stark, the Oprah of Marvel, took under your seats to get an Iron Man suit. You get an Iron Man suit. You get an Iron Man suit. That would be funny if Tony Stark did like some sort of TED Talk. And then at the end of the TED Talk, he's like, check under your seats. Oh my goodness. That. Just give everyone Iron Man suits. They've ruined Iron Man. Marvel has fundamentally ruined Iron Man. They took Iron Man to a place that they can't fix because they made the character all about the suit. They made the character in the suit unimportant. And once you do that, anyone literally can be Iron Man, which is, what they've been trying to do with their other characters like Spider-Man, right? Oh, anyone can be Spider-Man. Well, not really. The reason why Spider-Man works is because Peter Parker is the way he is and he has the ideas that he does. Oh, by the way, he's a super genius scientist and he comes up with the web formula, which no one else could make. Not even Reed Richards. So we forget about Marvel forgets about those things. Real comic book fans don't forget about those things, but Marvel does. And no, not anyone can just be Spider-Man, but Iron Man, yes, because it's a technology that has been created. Tony created an AI that now has that technology. The AI can literally just make new suits. Doesn't need Tony. In fact, Tony's been dead. And Iron Man still lived on. So Marvel proved that you don't need Tony. And you can build a suit. And if anyone gets in it, including Pepper Potts, and you can be an awesome, super awesome hero. You don't even need talent. You're just awesome because Marvel declared you as awesome. So yeah, they ruined Iron Man. Why do we need him? And he's just a jerk anyway. He's not even the old school Tony Stark. He's now this sort of some weird mutated clone of the Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. And the problem is he's written by these lesser writers, and they just, I don't know, they don't get it right. And it's like, oh, how can we make Tony Stark all snarky and full of arrogance and ego and all this stuff? And it's like, well, yeah, now he's just this jerk character who's always wrong. It's like, why do I like this guy? And that was another big fault when I was reading the Daredevil issue. And again, I talked about this in the video. It wasn't about the give the money away thing. I think that was a nothing burger. It was how Iron Man was. And I don't fault Zdarsky too much because he's keeping consistent with how Iron Man is written in his own comic. So I don't want to say like, oh, Zdarsky made Iron Man a jerk. No, he just made Iron Man the way Marvel's already had Iron Man go. He's just keeping consistent, which is his job. If anything, though, it was more pleasurable to read than the Iron Man comic itself. So there's something to be said that Zdarsky's a more talented writer than, what's his name? Cantwell. What a name. If you're not gonna be a good writer, you probably shouldn't have a name called Cantwell. Because you can put things, if you're not going to be good at something, just don't have a name Cantwell, because you can just put that in the name. So like, can't write well. If he was a chef, can't cook well. If you fail, anyways, let's get on with the backup story. 1925, Los Angeles. Enough. You have a right to tell all the fanciful stories you want, but as an educator and a historian, I must insist you not try to pass them off as truth. And you, sir, have a right to leave, but if you stay, I must insist that you sit down and shut the hell up. Applause. But the man is a liar. And on that we can agree. I am a liar, sir, but the truth is that there's more to this story than anyone knows. Because while this book, Bad Blood, ended with Skinner buried, the heroes triumphant, there was one last terrible chapter to the tale. The ending I've never told, but tonight I'm here to tell it. A new chapter just in time for the reprint, of course. If ever a charlatan. Shut up, asshole. I want to hear this part. 1912, Cruces, New Mexico. Three years after his final battle with Skinner Sweet, James' book was still battling. If the right hand defended thee, cut it off. Written by Stephen King, artist Raphael Albuquerque. Prairie Dog pops his head up. I can beat this. What does a good man fall back on when the situation is desperate? His faith, of course. The science of a new century. The love of his friends. And if all else fails, if thy right hand defend thee, cut it off. That was in the Bible my friend Jim Book got from his mother. But if your blood is the offending part, you're very blood. Nom 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 nom. Skinner Sweet might have been buried for 3 years under tons of rock. But he was still alive and well in Jim Book's blood. Lie still, sir. Almost done. And if this compulsion of yours persists, I think I'll refer you to an alienist in Denver. That the kind of doctor who... Can an alienist treat what's in that mirror? Fault in the glass, no doubt. Or the reflective backing. Get these rail spikes out of me, you goddamn quack. Get out of here, you. Dr. Stillwagon, what? Vampire. Weak. So damn weak. Jim, you're out on your feet. Let's get you inside. There's no good way this could end, Abby. Jim, you shut up that foolish talk. Look in the mirror. I can feel it in my blood. The hunger. All the time. If you won't shut up on your own, then I'll shut you up myself. Are you crazy? You're young enough to be my daughter. I think of you as my daughter. Part of you thinks of me as something else. I love you, Jim. Not as a daughter, but the way a man loves a woman. Get out! I have to clear my head. Think. A sheep. Just one. It'll help me think. But what of Skinner Sweet himself? Did he ever make it out from beneath the mine's rubble? The truth is that I don't know. For years, though, I've had the Lakeview Dealer, the Denver Herald, and the Peakville Envoy delivered to my home hundreds of miles away. Over here. I think I found something. Jesus. And from bits and pieces, obituaries mostly, I can surely speculate. Here now, what the hell do you think you're doing? Is that Jim Book? Careful. Stay right where you are. Why, hello there, boys. Jim Book? What? Our orders are to take you to Banker Percy's ranch. Escort you. That's what he means. Escort, not take. Old Bram Percy's got a ranch now, does he? My. That's a nice cross you got. Run while you still can. Too bad for you that I'm an atheist. Slash. Ah! Time to meet my maker. What have you done? Whose blood is that? It's just sheep blood, this time. You have to help me, Abby. I can't. I'll be damned to hell. I'm in hell already. If you don't kill me, I become whatever Skinner Sweet was, and he wins. Please, Abby. I'm not one to beg, but I'm begging you. I'd do it myself, but I want someone to make sure it sticks. When? Tonight. There's no moon. That's when I'm weakest. How do you know? My blood tells me. Please, Abby. Okay. But I need something from you. Maybe I should have spent my life working in the bank instead of robbing them. But what fun would that be? Well, old man Percy. Seems you're always either burying my ass or digging it up. I'll bet you got your reasons for not letting me rot down there this time, though. Don't you, boss? I want to offer you a deal, Mr. Sweet. Oh? Go on. Admittedly, my friends and I, we haven't been the fairest to you. When you first emerged as one of us, but different, we were wary. By definition, though, we are family. And in difficult times, despite our differences, we stand together as family. Needless to say, a vampire with your abilities. Together we could accomplish so much. Join us, Mr. Sweet. We're prepared to give you territory all your own, riches beyond your wildest dreams. And beyond this, we're offering you a chance to belong. Every outlaw needs a gang, after all. So, what's your answer? No! Please, I'll give you anything you want. Stop! I can get you more. $1 million. $1 million. It's worth $1 million just to see you rot. Plans. So many plans. I'll do it, Jim. On one condition. Abby, I can't. I stood godfather at your christening, and now you're asking me to. I've lost everyone I love, and now I'm supposed to lose you as well? I'll see you turn into a bloodsucker before I let that happen. I need something to hold on to, a little piece of you. It's my fertile time, Jim, please. God help me. Does it matter how long they were together that night? To lovers, an hour can last a century. But even for lovers, every hour ends. Abby, I kept my end of the bargain. Now you keep yours. I can't with that. At the dark of the moon, I think it can be anything lethal. I was your godfather. I was your lover. Now be my friend. For the first time in 3 years, I feel like I can sleep. Blam! A year later, Abilena finally left the home she'd shared with James Book and headed west. Come on, baby girl. Let's go. Mind if I tag along? Just keep up. And now the story is done. Earlier, though, one of you asked me why now? Why come here tonight? After all these years of lying and finally tell the truth. I said before that it's all about time. And I've been around enough death to know when my own time is drawing near. As well as any city doctor, at least. So I'm here tonight because I want it to be known by all of you that there are monsters out there, real monsters that walk the roads and the rails of this country. But there are also heroes, men who embody the best that we have to offer. Men like my friend, James Book, who was more of a hero than any character I could ever dream up. Because Skinner Sweet didn't win, you understand. James Book never buckled, never gave in. He went to his grave every bit the hero I knew. And if you all need a happy ending, that's the best I can do. Now, I'll be happy to sign the books for those who want them. Wait, what happened to Abilena? And the baby? What about the baby? Those are not my stories to tell. Dear Scribbler, you are old and I am young for eternity. So I let you live to suffer and die. Why not? What better revenge is there than that? Here's an autograph for you, Skinner Sweet. Is he? Yes, Felicia, the man who destroyed your father. Not today, but soon. Soon. End. Next, Devil in the Sand. Now that was a better story. Man, I like some Scott Snyder, but oh, what the hell was that, Scott? You had your own story. That was forgettable. So forgettable. At least Stephen King. And Stephen King I'm not even a fan of. Oh my goodness. Let's see what you guys are saying. Gotta find out where. I've seen a bunch of retracted stuff from RDV. Did you get Silence RDV? Let's see. Computer Robots is here. What's up, Computer Robots? He says, careful, Ash. The guy who writes Daredevil might harass you on Twitter the next day of watching the stream. No, Chip Zdarsky made a strong decision. And part of the reason why I actually buy his books, I was committed to not buying any Chip Zdarsky books because the dude's raging SJW. But he zipped his trap and doesn't talk shit about fans or anything and just does work. And I've always been of the mind that I'm not going to be one of these identity politics kind of people. I'm not going to decide who's worth buying or not buying or whatever because they think differently than me. I value diversity of thought. I really do. It's really about things like respect and contempt. I'm not going to give money. And this is the whole Comicsgate thing for me. It's like, I'm not going to give money to someone who shows me contempt. You know, like, no. Now, you can sit there and rail about Trump all day long and be like, Trump, I hate Trump, Trump's a bad president, blah, 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 blah. I may think you're a fool. I may think, you're wrong, but it doesn't bother me. There's no personal offense or anything to it. I know Chip Zdarsky's got weird, his viewpoint of the world is way different than mine, but as long as he's a professional and writes good comics, that's all I can ask for. And hopefully Chip Zdarsky just never comes back to Twitter, never, just keeps his head down. But who knows? Yeah. Let's see. Aw, snap. Sweets is in the audience listening, right? Melissa says, Spider-Man's a clone. The real Peter died in Otto's body, and Otto is also a clone. Also, the X-Men are also... Damn it, Melissa. There's not a stream that goes by without Melissa talking about the X-Men being segregationists. Ronnie says, bow chicka wow wow. Oh my. Let's see. Melissa, that was not incest, by the way. He was a godfather. They're not related. Let's see. Morani says, if it's polished metal, not silver, a vampire can have a reflection, even in the classic tradition of vampires. Yeah, I don't actually care. The only trope that I actually really care about is the sunlight thing. Now, obviously, in this story, Skinner Sweet can go out in the sun. But the reason I kind of accept it is because he's like an anomaly, and most of the vampires really can't. So I'm like, all right. And he does have a different weakness, which is the moon, which I'm like, oh, okay. That's the idea, though, for me. The reason, I think I like the sun trope is because without the vampires having, that weak time, it's like, what's the point? Then they're just basically super beings. They're not really vampires anymore. They're just, demons. But the idea that they can only come out at night, puts a severe limitation on them. I also like if they have other limitations, although I don't necessarily feel like they have to have all of them, It can be a mixture of holy water, fire, a crucifix, but yeah. Let's see. Ronnie says, I wasn't aware that atheists existed in the Old West time. Oh yeah, atheists have existed for a long time, Rania. They weren't quite as common, but yeah, atheism, it's not like a new thing. Let's see. So the mother is a vampire and the daughter is a hybrid. That's my assumption, says RDV. Could be. She's like DC's version of Blade. But she's a girl. Oh, wait, I don't know. I follow traditional vampire tropes. Okay. I like that water and sunlight burns them, says RDV. I'm assuming you mean holy water. There's some interesting ones. Like I said, I like that there are tropes. I just don't think that every vampire fiction needs to have every vampire follow the exact same tropes. Like, that to me is locking it down. You know, like, imagine if every comic had to follow, like, every superhero comic had to be like the Marvel way or the DC way. I like the fact that there's a variance, that that you have differences, that not every way is the same way. And then you can pick your favorites. Careful, Ash. Oh, wait, you already said that. I already said that. Bloodborne is a female vampire, and she is a cool character, says Tehillim. I don't know. RDV says, fun PC game. That's what I've heard. All right. I have caught up to all the comments. So I will be reading Batman, The Long Halloween, issue 5 out of 13. See if there's more Joker. It's hard to do Joker because it's like the middle of the night here and my roomie's sleeping, and like you cannot do this Joker voice quietly. Like, I have to really be loud, and so I'm trying to refrain, and it makes it hard because you kind of have to force your windpipe to kind of crack, and you can't do it if you're not really being vocal. Not that you guys care. I'll give Joker a America Chavez voice. That'd be funny. All right, kids, prepare for Batman, The Long Halloween, Part 5. May I help you? It's cold. Could we do this inside? What the district attorney and I would like to know is, Mr. Wayne at home, Alfred? Unfortunately, no. You're welcome to wait, although. Well, sure. Nice dump. You've been out to Wayne Manor before? I got invited to one of his Halloween parties once, but like I told Gilda, I'm not somebody who likes dressing up, even for millionaire Bruce Wayne. Remember when Bruce Wayne was just a millionaire? Oh, sorry. Continuing. Oh, what a shame, Mr. Dent. Master Bruce's masquerades are often quite amusing. Sirs, with it being Valentine's Day, I feel I would be derelict in my duty if I did not point out that, oh, how should I put this? With someone of Master Bruce's popularity, he may not return for some time. Harvey, you want to come back later? Harvey? So that's Bruce's old man, huh? Say, Alfred, is it? You wouldn't happen to remember someone named Falcone ever dropping by, would you? To see this Dr. Thomas Wayne? As I was saying, it being Valentine's Day, surely you must have other obligations? Captain Gordon, how is Mrs. Gordon? We have not seen her in some time. Barbara. Harvey, did you remember to get Gilda anything? No. And she's gonna kill me. Gotham Cemetery. Valentine's Day. Gravestone says, Alberto Falcone, beloved son. Is it worth it? Who the... Is it? Carmine the Roman Falcone. Gotham City's untouchable crime lord. On New Year's Eve, the serial killer the newspapers call Holiday took the life of his son, proving once again that each of us is touchable. Is what worth it? The price. What the hell are you talking about? Your son. Alberto was never involved in my business. Either directly or indirectly. How many other innocent sons have you destroyed? Nobody, and I mean nobody, speaks to me this way. Click. Hey! Godwoman. That's me. Again, each time I have been near the Roman, she appears. I intend to find out why. You've been away. I guess that's the same as, thanks for saving my life. You don't think I could have taken that little gun from that little man? Jealous? You should have stayed away. I got here as quickly as I could. Me too. Valentine's night. Selena Kyle. Cut yourself shaving, Bruce? Mm-hmm. Your lip. You should have someone do that for you. Alfred has offered more than once. I meant someone with a more feminine touch. Would the gentleman like to buy the lady a rose? My treat, Selena. Oh. This isn't your night for cuts. I am so sorry. The thorns. It's all right. I'm fine. Yes. Mr. Maroney, this is too much. Nothing's too much for a friend of Sal Maroney. And you are my friend, aren't you, Vernon? Of course, Mr. Maroney, but... You got no date tonight, Vernon? You want to stay for dinner? Mr. Maroney, my employer, Mr. Dent, the district attorney, he's targeted you, sir. He believes you are the weak link in the Falcone organization. He does he? Come on, Vernon. Have the veal. It's the best in the city. He'll kill us if he finds us in here. You want to stand outside and freeze your ass off? Be my guest. The way I figure it, Mr. Maroney's got half a dozen more button men inside. After the Joker incident, nobody's getting near the place. All I know is my gal didn't like it one bit when I told her I had to work tonight. Valentine's Day. So, genius, who do you think this holiday killer is? Bullets fly through the car windows. Boom. For some reason, the car explodes. No, no, no! What's this here? Holiday. Okay, you want war? I'll give you war. I was wondering when you'd get home. Barbara, I know I've already told you too many times, but I am sorry. Shh. It can never be too many times. Harvey? What time is it? It's late. Happy Valentine's Day, Gilda. Home. Sir, how did your meeting with Miss Kyle go? Master Bruce? I'll take it that it went rather well, then. Come. That's it. You know you can't resist me. No man can. Was someone saying bow chicka wow wow earlier in the chat? Nice. Very nice. Why does it go back to this book? I don't understand comicsology. I really don't. All right, let's start getting this wrapped up. What'd you guys think of that? I know a lot of you have read that book already, but this is my first time. I can't believe I've never read The Long Halloween. It's just one of those classic books that have just sat there, and I've always meant to, like, oh yeah, I'll get to that, but it's pretty thick, you know. It's 13 issues of comic, and I get intimidated real easy. Well, I mean, when it comes to like committing to reading something long. And you know, it's got a great reputation. I like Jeff Loeb. I like Tim Sale. I think I like Tim Sale more than I like Jeff Loeb, but you know, it's like, why not read it? And I don't know, just put it off. But not any longer. You guys get to go through this with me. Well, it was a good issue. Not as good as the last issue. It is moving kind of slow. As I said before, like, this is the book that's like written for the trade. Like, I usually argue against kind of trade waiting stuff because I feel like extending your enjoyment of a story or whatever, it's better. I would rather have 12 months of story, you know, split up into, you know, once every month to, you know, 2 hours of just binge reading. Now, this is a book, though, that I don't feel like these issues were written to be singular issues. Like, I feel like they just all blend together, unlike a lot of other comics I read. So, let's see. I got to figure out where I left off. Tehillim says, now Ash wants Vampirella to be a man. Wait, when did I say that? I definitely don't want Vampirella to be a man. RDV says, are you drunk, computer robots? He's a robot. He can't get drunk. Careful or Joe Biden will come and find you and pull you into the basement, says RDB. Oh, that reminds me of Evil Dead. You just replace the old witch in the basement with Joe Biden. Someone needs to make that a meme. Oh, if I was more inspired, I might dig out Photoshop, and that'd be funny. Let's see. Poison Ivy, Joker, Ivy Plants, Holidays, Super Badass. Ronnie says they faked it out. Green lips and white skin. Harvey pulling double booty. Harvey pulling double booty. What? Guys, I've been playing Super Smash Brothers, and Minecraft Steve has been released today as DLC as a fighter. All right. That's interesting news there, Computer Robots. Thanks for bringing that to the chat. We were all wondering who was going to be the new fighter for Super Smash Brothers. Ronnie says, I'm curious about who Holiday is. Me too. No spoilers. RDV says, that was thought. Evil Dead 2, Joe Biden equals Henrietta. Lord's here. What's going on, Lord? You're right in time for the end of the stream. Welcome. Unless you've been lurking here the whole time, so maybe not. Joe Biden is a vampire. He hides from the sunlight in his basement lair. Oh my goodness. Joe Biden. That guy, he's so funny. Did you see how he told voters not to vote for him? He's like, if you're happy with what's been going on the past 4 years, don't vote for me. I'm like, all right, that's probably the truest thing you've said. But even more, Nancy Pelosi outdid him. Nancy Pelosi called Wolf Blitzer of CNN on CNN. She was being interviewed on CNN. She called CNN a bunch of apologists for the Republicans. I was like, what? I was like, I knew Nancy Pelosi was out of touch, but holy shit, if anyone could say that CNN is a group of apologists for the Republicans, just like, are you living in La La Land? Holy cow. That's like calling the Nazis apologists for the Jews. Maybe not that far, but close. Anyways, I thought that was funny. Did I mention I was reading The Boys? I don't know. I think I started talking about that, and then my Joe Biden mind went off on a tangent. The Boys comic, it's pretty cool. If you guys haven't read, if you've seen the show, you should see the show. The show is really well done. But I was really pleased, and this is kind of going to sound weird, but I was really pleased to find that the comic differed a lot from the show. Like, quite a bit. And normally that's kind of a bad thing, when the source material, and this might be a bad thing for people who already were fans of the comic, and then they did the show, and you're like, what the hell is this nonsense? But for number one, I get to read the comic now, and I don't necessarily know how it's all going to play out.
Please try again.
Oh, shut up, Siri. Well, that wasn't Siri. That was Google. Apparently, something I said clued in Google to do something. Had to re-edit this. Bye, guys. Gotta go and take care, everyone. When you're a robot, where you gotta go? All right, computer. He's probably got to go build Skynet, take over the world. See you later, computer robots. Thanks for swinging by. Have a good night. Anyways, I'm only a few comics into The Boys, but some of the things are the same. Like, the core elements are the same. You got Billy the Butcher, and you got the kid, and the characters. But some of the things are different. Like, there's more heroes for one. And the TV show, it's kind of like a limited amount. You got the 7, and it really focuses on them. But like right from the first book, like right in the beginning, you have one of the superheroes fighting a supervillain, and there's a big fight. Like, and the TV show, there really isn't supervillains. Like, they're kind of like introducing the idea that there could be supervillains to sell it to the public. But So I was like, this is cool. Butcher is a little bit different than he is in the show. I mean, he's still kind of a big dick, but he's got a little bit different motivations and who he's working for. So anyways, I was really enjoying it. I'm liking that it's a different take on the boys, which is weird because it's the original take. But when it is different like this, I can enjoy it as separate properties. You know, if it was really similar, like almost the same, and they just made some minor tweaks and changes like race swapping or gender swapping, then I'd be getting like pissed. But now that I'm like, this is so different, like right from the get-go, A-Train's right in the beginning. So A-Train's a white guy in the comic book, not a black guy. So of course, you know, he was race swapped for the show, but he's just kind of different. So I was like, oh, okay. So anyways, if you haven't read The Boys, the comic book, it's on Comixology Unlimited. I was thinking, kind of bringing this up because I like talking about comic books, but also, do you guys think that would be a cool book to read on here? Not for October, obviously, but down the road, maybe reading like the first story arc of The Boys. So something to think about. Give me some feedback. Lord says The Boys is too crude for me. It's kind of crude, that's for sure. So yeah, feedback's appreciated. That's just something that was on my mind. RDV says, I just started reading the Walking Dead comics. Read 13 issues yesterday. Image is re-releasing the first 7 issues again in color with new covers. They're not just releasing the first 7 issues, they're releasing the whole series. It's Walking Dead Deluxe. So from what I understand, it's just going to start coming out again every month, and you're going to be able to buy it in color. I don't think it's just 7 issues only. I could be wrong, but that's what I heard. Knowing you, RDV, you'll have the whole series completed by the end of the week. You're going to burn through The Walking Dead so fast. You blast through comics. Computer says, oh yeah, and Ash, make sure you vlog going through the drive-thru on Wednesday to get your burger. And it doesn't matter how long the line is as long as you keep talking. What? You want me to vlog through the whole line? So here's the problem. The camera on my phone, well, the camera's fine. Something's wrong with my phone. I think it's a software issue. Like the camera crashes, and I can't record video. I can record video, but the camera crashes. So I could record for 2 minutes and it would crash. Sometimes I can record for 15 minutes and it crashes. I never know when. And when it crashes, I lose all the video that I recorded. So it's kind of one of the reasons why I do my video reviews and stuff on my iPad now. And I just do screen cap because, well, number one, it's easier. I should have done this all the way along the whole time. But also, because I couldn't take photos of, the Zach method of just pointing a camera at a comic. My phone works perfectly otherwise, and I don't really ever do video. And I can record video from my iPad, but it's an iPad Pro. It's gigantic. When you're sitting in your car holding a 12-inch tablet pointing at stuff, you look like a freaking moron. I can't really, I don't know. We'll see. Melissa says, night, everyone. RDV says, that's even better. I like drinking Mountain Dew. What? RDV says, I dropped my iPhone 7 in the toilet and it survived. Glad I had just cleaned the toilet. Nasty. Did you see that Apple brought back the small phone again with the iPhone 12? You can get like an original size iPhone again. Like, couldn't believe they got rid of that. That was like one of the cool things about an iPhone is you could have a phone that actually fit in the palm of your hand. Marani says, I'm not sure if something designed to be black and white should be colorized. It's like the argument about colorizing old black and white movies. If the creator of Walking Dead makes that decision, fine. I can understand that opinion, Marani. That's actually a really valid, it's a really valid opinion. The way I look at it is the whole run is done. Like, it's been out and over, and you got to enjoy it in black and white, and you still can. And now it's being colorized, and you get this opportunity to maybe offer it to a new audience who maybe wouldn't give it a shot when it was black and white. I mean, it's kind of the argument for colorizing old films. You know, there's a lot of people who just can't stand watching black and white movies and TV. They'll only watch it if it's colorized. So if that's the way to get them to watch it, you know, so be it. I think it's working really well with Usagi Yojimbo. That's another book. They're doing, Usagi Color Classics. They're starting from the beginning of Usagi Yojimbo and just colorizing it. I think it works well for that. You know, Usagi's been black and white for 35 years, except for a few specials they've done color. And so while I enjoy Usagi black and white, I also kind of like seeing it in color. So yeah, I think it's neat. I think it's cool to have options. Let's say if they got rid of old school Walking Dead, like you just couldn't get the black and white anymore, there's like, nope, that would be something I would probably disagree with, because you're right. I mean, this was the original way it was intended. The art was done originally knowing it wasn't going to be colored. So, let's see. RDV says, I need the microphones again. I will need 3 long boxes for the Walking Dead's. 3 long boxes for Walking Dead? It's only 193 issues. RDV says, I'm that new audience. Cater to me, damn it. Well, you're being catered to. Although, something tells me you're not really reading those if you're in issue 13. And issue only 1 came out this past week. So, you're reading ahead. Marania says, if it's done for a money grab, I personally don't like the idea of ripping off a normie audience. That's not really it's not ripping anyone off, right? I mean, if it's the same price as the black and white comics were before, I guess the real question is, like, for the people who bought the originals. I've seen fans who are like, I have the whole run of Walking Dead and they're going to buy it again in color. But that's kind of your choice, right? Like, I'm cool with it. I mean, Walking Dead's the most popular indie comic ever. So a lot of people didn't jump on in the beginning until it was like hugely popular, and it was like, oh, there's already 100 issues out. Like, to get the early issues is crazy. So now someone can collect. I think it would be fun. Like, if you missed the bandwagon on Walking Dead and you're like, I want to start now, you can jump in and collect this whole run of Walking Dead Deluxe. And knowing Robert Kirkman, he's going to do some special things here and there. I really like Robert Kirkman as a writer, but also as a comic publisher. He really does care about his fans. I love the way, like, every series he launches, he's got not always necessarily the best ideas, but he's got some cool ideas. Like, one of the things he did for Oblivion Song was hidden variants, which basically what that means is he had variants on the covers, but they were very subtle, and he didn't advertise them. So the comic book stores didn't know they existed. So for the first couple of issues of Oblivion Song, there were just, I don't even know what the ratio was. It might have been 1 in 10. I don't know. Had slight variants to the cover, which makes those comics collectible. But because no one knew about them, it kind of made you like luck of the draw, right? If you grab the one off the shelf that happens to be one of those variants, it might be in your collection. Hey, you got the golden ticket sort of thing, where normally with these rare variants, you have to go pay for them. Like when I go to the comic store every week and they're like, here's the $100 variant of this week's Spider-Man. You're like, really? Like, it's this way you could pay cover price and get a rare variant. Now, fans caught up to this, and so then everyone was screening for the comics, and eventually by issue 4 or 5, that had to go away because the comic book stores knew to look for them, and then they would, of course, sell them at a higher price. And then, But I like that he did that initially because he was thinking about fans, and he understands that comics aren't just for reading. They are for reading, but they're also collectability. People like to collect them. People like to have valuable comics in their collection. It makes them feel it's fun. It's a fun feeling. The other thing that he did was with Die Die Die, he didn't even announce that series was coming out. He just shipped #1 to all the comic book stores. And he gave them the same number of issues, whatever the store ordered for Oblivion Song #1. He gave that store that many issues. And here you go, boom. And so fans showed up on a Wednesday to the comic book store, and there was this new comic that no one had ever heard of. You're like, what the hell is this? Die, Die, Die. Just surprise. And in this day and age, that just doesn't happen. Everything's in Previews magazine months ahead of time. You got to pre-order and all this stuff. And there's no sense of like old school comic book experience. Like we go to the store and just peruse the shelf and be like, ooh, what's this? That's largely gone. So that I thought that was a cool thing. And then with Firepower, this is the one that I didn't quite agree with as much, but in hindsight, I think it's really cool. I wish Kirkman would have done it slightly different. So he released the first issue of Firepower, not as an issue. He released actually like the first 8 issues as a trade paperback. And it's volume 0 prelude trade paperback, or it's got a weird name. And it's like 160 pages long. It's huge. Well, I mean, for a comic book, it's 8 issues worth of comic, and he sold it for $9.99. So fantastic price value, right? And if you're at a comic book store that gives you discounts, which like mine does, you're basically paying like $1 an issue for a comic book, and you get this great story as a super value. My comic store actually hooked me up with the preview edition, which is like not supposed to be for resale. Shh, don't tell anyone. So I'm like, yeah, I got something special. But I didn't originally like it because I don't like the idea of like having a $10 big purchase. But really, I mean, Marvel Comics are getting that price anyway. I mean, just for like a giant size issue, how much was Spider-Man 850? Was that like $8.99, $7.99, $8.99? Like, it's Detective Comics 1027 was $9.99, So you get a lot of stuff, and then you read that. You got 8 issues of comic, you're sold into it. You don't have to be like, oh, I bought issue 1 and I'm kind of meh because I didn't get enough story. That's what happened with Oblivion Song, right? Oblivion Song just didn't show enough of the story. So a lot of people read it and were like, whatever, move on. But with Firepower, you're like, this is good. So I'm rambling on for a long time. But what my point is Robert Kirkman thinks about fans, thinks about ways to get fans excited and engaged in the books. And I appreciate that on top of just delivering quality. So he's a guy that I really just look to now for those reasons. Let's see. My comments keep getting removed. I was trying to make a joke. I didn't see your comment. Are you removing comments, Maranya? I don't know who's removing. It's not me. And it's only could be Maranya, or it could be Breen. He could be hiding somewhere. Unless YouTube's censoring you. I don't know. But Melissa says, see you Thursday, Ash. I hope to see you as well. Oh, she says it's YouTube removing my comments. I'm sick of them removing mine and everyone's comments. Yeah, I've heard YouTube's been doing that on certain keywords. Yeah, I don't really have. This is a good time to bring that up. I don't really have much of any sort of commenting policy. I'm very much a free speech person. The only rules that I have for my chat are just don't spoil anything. Number one, like that's just rude. No one should feel like they have to be spoiled to participate in the chat. And number two, like don't do anything over the pale. If you start, saying like really hateful racial things, like none of you guys would really do that, but that sort of stuff, like, no, But if you just want to like drop an F-bomb, I don't care. It's, and if you want to have controversial ideas, I don't care. It's more of there's a difference between a controversial idea and like, basically, like if you were to be like, I don't know, let's say you were a Nazi and you wanted to throw a certain ethnic people into ovens, like, and that stuff would obviously be way beyond the pale. Like, just, I think you guys can understand. We're all adults. It's, so those are really the two things that I don't tolerate. But if you just want to be like, Trump sucks, I hate him, say it all you want. Like, don't spam. Oh, that's number 3. Don't spam. Say your point. It'll be heard. I'll probably read it because I don't have a huge audience. I can usually read most of the chats. And we'll go on. So once a month, they release each color issue Walking Dead, their director's cuts. Stuff by Kirkman in it, says RDV. Melissa says, to quote The Truman Show, good morning, good evening, and good night. You have a good night, Melissa. Sweet dreams, and we'll see you Thursday. See if you can be first again. Let's see. Remember when I Love Comics removed a guy for using the N-word? RDV says, and? I don't know if you're responding to that. I remember that. Things like that in the chat comments usually get a channel in trouble. That's another good point, Marania. Like, well, first of all, the N-word, it doesn't really bother me, per se. The thing about the N-word is there's really only one reason to use it. It doesn't have another purpose, right? Like, I've been kicked out of something, or I actually got suspended on Twitter for the word retarded. But retarded is a legitimate word. Like, it's not necessarily disparaging. So words like that, like bitch, for example, bitch has a completely legitimate use. Like, but the N-word really doesn't. Its singular purpose is to be racially offensive. So there's really no point to say it. And on top of that, it's going to hurt my channel. I don't want my channel to be affected. So if you do anything that would hurt my channel, obviously I don't want that. And me or Marania will remove your tweet. And if we have to remove, here's the thing. I'm a big warning guy. I'm going to remove your tweet. And if you still, if you don't listen, if you don't follow warnings, then you have to go. But no, it's never been a trouble here. Like, I'm not big enough to have trolls. Saying the N-word isn't wanted by anyone. Well, except troublemakers. Let's see. It was funny as hell. I Love Comics did not see that one coming. He's a nice guy. I love comics. Yeah, he's I think Richard C. Meyer is a genuine guy. That's, love him or hate him, his opinions. I think he's a genuine guy. Artie says, I'm bouncing off New Comic Day and need to get to the LCS by 11 a.m. Well, I need to get there even earlier than you, so I'm going to bounce too. But thank you, RDV, for joining me tonight. Thank you, everyone else who's here. We're just going to go ahead and end the stream. Hope you guys get some good comics. I'll probably be doing a Ash Wednesday or a Comic Call video tomorrow. So, yeah, hopefully look for that. Tell me what you've been getting, and I will see you then.